World Masters, UK Open and World Grand Prix champion, the Thorn, Robert Thornton.
Penultimate game of the night, and it sees a three-time major champion, an all-time great, Robert Thornton, the Thorn. The Scottish legend take on the last of the Gibraltarian players. We saw Dyson Parodi sneak through against Cordecker. Justin Hewitt gave a good account of himself, the 17-year-old, but ultimately went down to Carl Wilkinson. Anthony Lopez battled through that foot injury after coming off his motorbike yesterday, but ultimately couldn't defeat Michael Rosenauer. It is now down to David Francis, nicknamed the Ronin, to see if he can topple the Thorn and set up a second-round clash with Gerwyn Price, the only man whom he's faced before at the Gibraltar Darts Trophy. He qualified for this a couple of years ago, David Francis. No, sorry, 3 years ago, I do beg your pardon. He played in the first round. He was ironed out 6-0 by the Iceman Gerwyn Price. So objective 1 for Francis is to get a leg. Objective 2 will be to get the win. Paul Nicholson alongside me to see if he can do it.
Is David to throw first. Game on.
Well, one thing's for sure, David was having a chat after the last time he played on the stage with RMC, Richard Ashdown. And Richard said, "You got to get a nickname, David." And he got himself a very decent one, which has a story.
Oh, yeah.
And Ronin is something to do with applying your trade without your master. I think that's dedicated to his dad, who he lost when he was young. Pretty cool nickname, though, Ronin.
Yeah, it's
cool
Japanese,
film.
Japanese theme to it. Not unlike Tony Alcinas from over the border in Spain, of course. The samurai.
Well, anything that's got a Bruce Lee / Kill Bill type of theme to it has got my vote.
Wow, you've not seen anybody come out in, like, I mean, I would love, I don't know, I would love to see somebody like, say, for example, let's say John Henderson wearing a bright yellow Bruce Lee jumpsuit from Enter the Dragon for a game of darts.
26.
I mean, I don't understand how anybody could not like that idea.
I'm on board.
Yeah.
And Kill Bill had a great soundtrack as well.
Yeah.
Great music.
I'm not saying that Hendo is going to look like Uma Thurman from Kill Bill. I'm saying he's going to look better.
125.
Hey, all you've got to do to win is wiggle your big toe. And if you haven't seen the movie, you know what, you'll have to go and watch it now. Just wiggle your big toe.
But we digress.
100.
While we were chatting nonsense, David Francis has given himself a chance of winning his first ever leg on the European Tour. I like that route.
I like that too.
I don't like that so much because he was looking at the big 14.
71.
But he will get a look at tops to win his first leg on the European circuit.
I think Robert Thornton losing the first leg of this match may be good for him.
70.
It might focus him.
David,
because
40.
if he thinks this is going to be easy, the best thing you need is for someone to peg a leg against you and pull you into the game.
David Francis.
And he has got his first leg.
Game on.
I've got to say it, Dan. Is he using your darts?
They're those Daytona Fire darts. They're quite fancy little arrows.
You've got a set of them, haven't you?
I've got a set of them, mind you. I mean, I've got a set of a lot of things. Rubbish with all of them. Certainly haven't thrown many 17 darters with it.
It's good enough to get the first leg, and there were some Thorn fans out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's Thorn fans all over the world.
Of course there are. Robert Thornton, in the twilight of his career, has decided to step into the sort of modern dart shirt era. Like he always had the old school dart shirt, didn't he? The actual shirt with the buttons up the front. Sometimes the Thorn, they were done up in a sort of Ted Hankey style, rakishly low.
Well, the last time he was on the European Tour, he played against Kim Huybrechts in what was a very good game. And Robert nearly stole it with a 1-3-4 out on a double top shot.
Nice.
And he's wearing the same shirt. And I was told that he was wearing it because he was waiting for his new dart shirts to be made.
Ah.
So there must be a big delay on the design of those new shirts. I hope they're worth waiting for. I'm sure they will be.
David Francis has left himself a bogey number there. Just automatically throwing at the trebles. It won't matter because the Thorn's not going to leave a finish himself. Needed to fill it up. And
22.
Right now, Robert Thornton is very much second best against the host nation qualifier, who, just to repeat, lost 6-0 in his only other appearance.
Let's face it, there are some very good players who've never won a game on the European Tour. Kevin Munch.
Yeah.
Michael Ploy.
Michael Ploy's a habit of losing 6-5 over and over and over again. It's
not going to be 6-0 on this occasion. It could be any scoreline from here. But Francis looks the more likely.
Well, at this rate, it could be 6-0. Just be the other way round.
36.
Same position, really, as the last leg. But Thornton is just starting to tighten his belt a little bit. See that little grimace in the face. He's trying to focus, but for some reason the darts aren't coming out of his hand pure. It just seems a little bit languid.
20 or 12. A little bit close to the treble, but he does get a dart at double 16.
54. Robert Uruguay, 96.
Now then. Can still do this. Treble 19 or treble 15. Goes the 19s for double 12.
84.
That will have looked very good in the air. It just
16.
dipped at the very last moment. And Francis to take a 2-0 lead. He gets there.
Second leg, David
to the delight of the crowd.
Third leg is David to throw
a very
first.
snazzy shirt.
Game.
One thing I'll say, Dan, is that the grip of David Francis, it's a bit unusual because the dart is actually on the inside of the fingers. It's quite a long way. I'm not even sure how he's thrown the dart that way. There's a lot of emphasis on a curved thumb, which is rare in this game. One of the only players I know that has a curved thumb is Glenn Durrant.
Yeah.
41.
Well, the Thorn has been here all day. He has been here since about 2 in the afternoon, 1 o'clock, 2 in the afternoon, pretty much the start of play. But it looks like he may as well still be in the practice room here because he's barely in this contest. Better.
2 out of 3 in bad. It is better. Still needs to improve though. And the more this goes on, David Francis will start getting a little bit of confidence. He's talking to himself a little bit.
46.
Spraying those darts a little bit left and right, but he's still got a lead.
And both of these guys
58.
from the school of players that don't seem to care whether they've got jewellery jangling around on their throwing hand. I'm always baffled by players who can do that.
Yeah, I'm with you there, Dan. I remember watching Wolfie and that jangling bracelet going up and down the forearm. I just don't know how he did it.
Yeah, Wolfie. Fordham was like that, wasn't he?
Murphy used to be like that before he stopped using it.
135.
But he took all of his jewellery off Murphy. He went from having rings on all the fingers to then having nothing on at all. That's like changing the weight of your dart by about, what, 60 grams?
Now, where's he looking here? Is it ball?
No,
yeah, that'll do. That will do for David
42.
Francis. Leaves himself tops. And he's going to get a look at it for 3-0. And Robert Thornton
60.
Well,
David Dubois, 40.
he is having a bit of a nightmare, partially due to his own making and partially down to David Francis. Playing better than we've seen from him before.
I think he knows that he has to hit this because Robert Thornton is looking at that 82 like a tiger with a stake.
30.
He's going to gobble this up as Robert.
82.
He needs it. Needs something to happen. Interesting option. It's the bull. And he's left his favourite.
David Dubois,
He throws
10.
his hands up, but really, I'm not sure it was the wisest decision. He could have guaranteed himself a dart at double.
Yeah, it's on the third leg.
And he
David
will
Francis.
not get another
Four-legged
chance
Robert
in
to
that
throw
leg
first.
because
Game
it is 3-0 to the Gibraltarian. Now, we did see Justin Hewitt take a 3-1 lead in this afternoon's penultimate game of the session against Carl Wilkinson, but he
58.
couldn't get the job done. He lost the next 5 in a row.
I'm not sure I can remember the last time Robert Thornton was averaging 73.
Well, look, it has been up and down for the Thorn. We've seen some good things from him, but he has had a tough time over this year. But he is a fighter, but he's just absolutely raging as the Thorn. And normally, if players getting angry with themselves like this, normally you think it's to their detriment. You're never quite sure with Robert, who spends most of it, even when he's playing brilliantly, he'll be having an argument with himself all the way through each visit. Because if there's a dart that doesn't find its target, he'll be berating himself. But here,
60.
I mean, nothing is going his way.
That's the line more than anything else. It's going way left, way right.
30.
Just the timing isn't right. It's not coming out of the hand right. I don't know whether it's something to do with perspiration, but the air temperature just outside of the arena is fine. It's not that hot now, but it is quite stuffy inside.
140.
I think that is Team Francis, judging by the joy in their faces.
40.
Well, you don't need that when it's not going your way already.
Well, you could see that last dart was a bit lazily flung, wasn't it? And yeah, all right, it was close, but if you don't throw it in the same way as you normally do, you run the risk of it entering the board at a silly angle, or it won't be going in as authoritatively. So if you do get a deflection, there's more chance of it ending up on the floor.
I agree. First start has been a real concern for Robert in this match so far.
58. David Dubois, 141.
First start average of less than 21. It needs to be 15 more than that in order to contend these days.
Well, that's some way off the treble 19, but he's got a bit of time with which to play here. Treble 14.
78.
Well,
I have to say, this is the bottom of the locker for Robert Thornton when it comes to performance, and it may be this is the best that
26.
Francis can play
David
on the
Dubois,
stage
63.
based on his experience, and he's averaging somewhere in the region of 81. Thornton just cannot get to a finish. Double 16 for 4-0, unbelievably.
47.
but that's not a miss that really hurts him, because the Thorn's still 200 back. That's a great first start.
140. David Uruguay 16.
Well, it's his first ton 40 of the entire game, Robert Thornton. It's taken him 4 legs.
Does he believe? Does he believe?
No score.
I'm not sure he believed that he could say enough of that and get it done. But again, it's a two-darter that Robert Thornton needs, and that's a perfect shot. Double two. He left himself in the madhouse, and he's probably feeling very mad right now.
Double 8 for a double break. It's a long way back from 4-0 down, Thornton. And that's exactly where you've got to come from.
Fifth leg is David to throw first. Game
It's
on.
almost David and Goliath stuff, this, isn't it, Dan? And I was looking at David Francis on the last visit there, and there was no breathing whatsoever. It was a genuine hold your breath and hope type of shot, and it did get there. But when you're nervous and when you're a little bit edgy and you're in this adrenaline-filled home stage environment for David, you've got to breathe all the time. Get that oxygen in,
60.
get that carbon dioxide out, get some water in your system. It all helps.
Well, there is no position that David Francis could find himself in. If he was averaging 120 in this game, I'm sure he'd be nervous as the finishing line approaches, having not won a leg in PDC darts until today.
140.
There will be nerves, of course there will be, but it couldn't be any better for him really in terms of the scoreline. If he can't relax a little bit now, when can he?
The thing is, Robert Thornton is in a position in the rankings
60.
where he should be focused on every dart he throws, and he's in danger of losing privileges very soon if this kind of form does persist. He has had a great spell of form this year. He's had a 9-darter, he's beaten MVJ on the floor, but it just hasn't been enough on a consistent basis.
Yeah, it's odd days here and there. I mean, a semi-final back in May, but since then he's not made it past round 2 of anything apart from once.
83.
There was a
David
deflection there on dart 3 off dart 2 to put him on 95, and he was looking for a little bit less than that. This is a huge shot.
16 scored, 45 left. Good. Evans just clarifying. Double 16 for 5-0.
45.
And this has been a better scoring leg from Robert Thornton, but it's not easy, this. Starts on the bull, 5 for tops. Oh my, don't miss the big numbers as we call it, Robert. But nothing has gone right for the Thorn.
Nothing worse than having a dart in your hands
79.
that you cannot use.
David Uruguay, 16.
Exactly the position he was in there, Robert Thornton. And Francis back on double 8 for 5-0.
Robert Uruguay, 16.
Is there a way back in this game?
Yeah, it's on the 5th leg.
Robert Thornton breaks Francis's throw.
6th leg is Robert to throw first. Game on.
It's almost like Robert Thornton doesn't focus fully unless his back is against the wall. Whether it's in the rankings, whether it's in the press, whether it's in the match. Let's face facts. His back is against the wall here. He's playing the home guy. He's 4-1 down. He wants to play against Gezi tomorrow. He really does. But has Robert Thornton over-practiced today? He has been here a very long time.
Well, I don't think it did Steve West any favours. And it's Richie Edhouse to come, and it's those three who've been hanging about together today on the practice board all day. Edhouse to come against Jamie Hughes, and that is a tough old game. He's not out of this yet, Robert Thornton. 5-0, he might have been.
I think there's got to be less of the gesturing from Robert. He's got to believe a little bit more.
45.
Not holding his hands out like that. I think that is feeding Francis. He hasn't been in this position on a stage before, David Francis, so he's obviously going to feel very edgy. Robert Thornton has been in pretty much every position in a dart match imaginable.
$42.
Well, if Francis is clever about this, he can leave a finish. Let's just see. He's got to stay straight to even give himself options.
Yeah, 105 minimum.
That's why he wants to stay on the treble 20. Or you think it is. Well, it doesn't matter now anyway.
Thing is, you go for the outs. You go for the 25 on dot 2.
Yeah, that's the other option, isn't it? Go there, because if you hit the ball, then you've got different options.
Correct. If you miss the 60, you don't have an out. You can't leave the finish. I mean, it's a great ton, don't get me wrong. But you just got to use the darts in the right order to give yourself the maximum amount of chances.
Well, we've seen it. You know, he left a bogey number early on in the game. He was trying to hit a ton 40 from 302.
128.
Just little things like that. And it's not stopped Jose De Souza or Steve Beaton having success.
Or Phil Taylor.
True.
56. David Uruguay 112.
Imagine the noise in here from the Gibraltarians if this goes.
Well, nobody has managed to take out a combination finish so far. And that's not going to change. The highest checkout we've had in this game is 40.
52. Robert Uruguay 72.
Just getting 2 darts right in a visit has been a bit much for the Thorn in this game. But 3 of them worked to his benefit there. A bit of the old Thorn, isn't it? 1 dart at tops and it goes.
Yeah, that's the Robert Thornton blueprint right there. Leave tops, hit tops.
Next
leg, please. Is he the best double top hitter you've ever seen when on form?
He's up there, certainly.
55.
He's simple game plan with Robert Thornton. Hit loads of 180s, hit tops. And he just looks a little bit different. There we go. That's the Thorn we know.
The tail is starting to wag.
I'm not sure you'd have seen that from Robert Thornton had he gone 5-0 down. I'm not sure you'd have seen
45.
leg 7 in this game had he gone 5-0 down. And he survived 4 darts to be 5-0 down to David Francis. It was out of his hands. But now, when he has a poor visit, he's chastising himself. But it's a completely different feel. The body language is completely different.
140.
Get the feeling in amongst Team Francis there is one supporter for Robert Thornton. I think it is Ryan Meikle.
Yeah, saw him holding up the sign there. The barber. And we saw this afternoon. Really good game with Paul Rowley, but he came off on the wrong end of it. Ryan Meikle beaten 6-5.
96.
Good to have some support out there. There is Ryan Meikle. Impeccable hair as usual. Well, as you'd expect. Oh, David Francis has left himself a bogey number again. Robert Thornton is on 95 again, and I don't think he'll miss a big number in his next visit, unlike a couple of legs ago when he flirted with going 5-0 down, because he looks different. Something's changed. Bullseye. And a difficult one to reach, difficult one to see. Oh, it's a ridiculous dart! Robert Thornton is back!
I love that shot. There are a select few dart players in the world who can do that. Robert Thornton has just proved that he is one of them. Take your mind back to the match play final where Taylor won on a 1-3. 2, I think it was. And he covered the ball, and Sid Waddell called it the Annie Oakley shot. That one wasn't as hard as the Taylor shot, but boy, it was difficult.
It wasn't easy. And bearing in mind that Robert Thornton had exactly the same 95 checkout, and he couldn't hit a big 5 just 3 legs ago, to pin a tiny fraction of the bullseye that you could see just a few minutes later suggests that this game has changed completely, and it all changed with David Francis missing 4 darts for a 5-0 lead.
The plot is thickening. Like the Gibraltarian gazpacho. Jib loves you, David, says the sign. That is very apparent.
41.
Well, David Francis is not going to get whitewashed, but he does have form in losing 6 legs on the spin at the Gibraltar Darts Trophy. And right now, there's a chance that could happen, because for the first time in this game, the Thorns average has climbed above that of David Francis. It's not good. It's only in the high 70s. But for 3 legs, Robert Thornton was barely in the 70s.
96.
I say from experience, Dan, that these games are horrible on your mind. You know you're not playing well and you are fighting with every dart, trying to make it natural, but it just doesn't click like that, and you realise, I'm just going to have to scrap you. It's exactly what Robert's doing. And he's scrapped in so many different ways in his career. Scrapped with the best, playing the 100 averages.
80.
And this is a totally different scrap altogether.
Look, it's not been pretty, but I'll tell you what, it's been gritty.
Now.
25. Does that change things? These 95 checkouts keep popping up. Treble 18 and tops. The Thorn. Levels the game, a 1-1-4 checkout. Robert Thornton has taken out 72, 95 and now 114 in consecutive legs to drag himself back from the brink of an embarrassing defeat. And now you'd have to make him the favourite, even though Francis has the throw in 2 of the 3 remaining legs.
Well, that last checkout was courtesy of a very large fruit company because it was inevitable.
43.
For me, he is one of the best top shooters of all time, with the likes of Anderson. He needed it. He's the one that's buzzing right now. He's got the momentum, whether you believe in it or not.
Well, the mindset's here. Look, David Francis would have taken 4-all if you'd said to him before the game started, you're going to be 4-all, best of 3, you've got the throw against Robert Thornton. He'd have taken that. But right now, look at that, the average so close, but the Thorns, which was quite some way behind David Francis, has just climbed, well, it was above it briefly, and it is above it now. But Thornton, having won 4 on the spin,
100.
He's the aggressor. He's the man taking the fight to David Francis, and Francis is in danger of crumbling. He's been hanging around in the last couple of legs, but it's been a while since he's had a dart at double. Hasn't had one in the last 3.
100.
He scored quite steady in the last few legs, but with Robert raising his game, you're right, not having those shots at double, and he's needed a few shots on occasion.
42.
This is a massive opportunity. Needs to set it up now. And he's going to do that. Oh, very well. Leaves himself double 8, but that's where he was having problems earlier.
Was that his best 3 darts of the match so far? I have to say yes, based on the circumstances.
David Uruguay 16.
To stop the rot, have his best leg of the match.
Oh, the hand's shaking there, isn't it? Oh, it's shaking.
8.
And it's gone wrong in that corner of the board again for David Francis. And Robert Thornton to go in front from 4-0 down. 12 segments. Double 13. Oh, long way off. Long way off.
David Uruguay 8.
I'm going to give him a Tony Award for that performance on stage for Robert Thornton. More gesturing than Laurence Olivier. Double falls there and he stops the rot. There's Ronan. They believe, does Robert Thornton believe that he's got 2 legs in him to get the job done?
Oh, look at that. 24 darts at double for David Francis.
24.
And 24 points for Robert Thornton. Means it's a fantastic chance for David Francis to get the win.
How does he feel right now? He wouldn't have been in this position before. It's the hardest leg to win. I suppose they're all hard to win when you've never won one before. But right now he needs 1 more leg, and these are so difficult. When you've never been in this position before, now he is finding out what kind of dart player he really is.
Well, obviously David Francis wants to win it in this leg.
80.
Is he able to win a last leg decider? against a three-time major champion. Yes, it's a three-time major champion who's playing nowhere near his best. But can he handle the occasion if it goes the distance? This might be the chance.
Will he get a revenge match against Gezi?
Well, that is on the table if he can get the win.
Got a few Thornton fans out there trying to get him going by singing his walk-on song. Much better first start. And the body was not moving there. That was a really good visit from Robert. Get the feeling we're going all the way, Dan. Could be one of those legs. Whoever wins it wins the match.
It has that feel. I know that David Francis would have the throw in the last leg decider. But Robert Thornton has left himself 60.
I think that last start from Robert was a good miss. I'd much rather, if I were him, see myself on 60 than see myself on 20. Because you start going inside and getting a bit fiddly on double 5.
34.
This way, double top then.
Easy.
Well, he's on 20.
50.
Well, he's done what I thought he shouldn't have done. He's left himself on double 5. He's got time. And, yeah, it's next door to his favourite. Just to the left. Psychologically, it's different. Because if you go inside, you've got to stop fiddling around the board.
98.
And Francis has left himself on a checkout where he should get a dart. If he's allowed back to the board. And he is going to be allowed back to the board. And Robert Thornton is disconsolate. And he's not particularly happy with the David Francis fans. But, I mean, you can't look. They're not. They're shouting out, but it's a constant wall of noise. There's no, well, it's probably a foul throw, that. But he busted it anyway.
80.
Robert Thornton, he can look at the crowd all he wants, but there's one person to blame if he loses this game, and it's Robert Thornton. 20 for tops. Match start, David Francis.
60.
Really came out of the handle at that one.
10.
Tried to stay in his rhythm and just throw it.
This is not going to help him. This is not going to help him. He can't pick a fight with the crowd. It's off the wire. That's not in. And that might be the end for the Thorn, and it could be a second Gibraltar player through to the second round.
Double 4. You can hear a pin drop.
16.
The dart has not dropped into the requisite segment.
5.
And Robert has a different target. This time it's double 2. He's hit the 15. The wheels have come off. And he's lost the steering wheel as well.
He's lost his composure, and I think he might have lost the match. Madhouse for David Francis. Oh, and he's missed it by a distance, yanking it down, and another chance for the Thorn to force a last leg.
Deja vu. It's double 1.
3.
I'm not sure that Robert Thornton believes he can hit a double feeling this way. He is really, really green bait. He's cheesed off.
Double 1 again. Oh no, David Francis, how many chances do you need?
2.
32 darts. 33 darts thrown in this leg. Robert Thornton has won best of 5 games with 33 darts before.
David Francis, surely at some point you have to hit this double. It's there! And he's done it! We have a second Gibraltar player through. You don't need me to tell you that. Just look at the fans. He will take on Gerwyn Bryce. A rematch with him after getting whitewashed by him 2 years ago. Congratulations, your first ever win on this stage. It took you long enough to get there.
To be honest, I'm trembling. You know, but I've got the support of my family and friends, and we've all made it happen together.
Have you ever felt as nervous as you did there, throwing for the match?
No. To be honest, no. Never missed so many darts on a double, I think.
A couple of years ago, you played here in the first round. You didn't win a leg against Gerwyn Price. You get another go at him tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Missed a couple of doubles back then. The nerves were even more intense. Think that maybe I've settled down a bit. Maybe I can nick some legs off him this time.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Francis, your second player from Gibraltar through to the second round. He will take on the Iceman Gerwyn Price. Got one more